Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through all the noise to look at the science of making huge changes in your life.
And the surprising thing is that it starts with the smallest possible unit.
The atomic habit, we're getting into the math of small incremental improvements.
Yeah, and we absolutely have to start with the math because it's just so counterintuitive.
Right.
If you get just 1% better at something every day for a year, you don't end up 365% better.
No, not even close.
You end up nearly 37 times better than when you started.
37 times. I mean, that kind of compounding is, it's why time becomes either your best friend or your worst enemy.
Exactly. Bad habits compound in the same way. Unchecked stress, negative self-talk, procrastination.
It just gets exponentially worse over those same 12 months.
So to really see this in action, I think we have to talk about one of the most amazing turnarounds in modern sports history, British cycling.
Oh, yeah. This story is incredible. Before 2003, they were, what's the right word?
A joke. I mean, since 1908, they'd won a single Olympic gold medal.
One in almost 100 years. And they never, ever had a winner of the Tour de France in 110 years.
They were just known for mediocrity.
I read this crazy detail that a top bike manufacturer actually refused to sell them bikes.
Yeah, they were afraid it would hurt their brand to be associated with the team.
Wow.
It was a reputation of total disaster. And then they hired a guy named Dave Brailsford.
And he brought in this new philosophy.
He called it the aggregation of marginal gains. The idea was actually pretty simple.
Deceptively simple.
You break down everything you could possibly think of that goes into riding a bike, and then you improve each little piece by 1%.
And we're talking about the obvious stuff first, right? Like redesigning the bike seats to be more comfortable or rubbing alcohol on the tires for a better grip.
Yes, but they didn't stop there. That's the key.
Yeah.
They went after everything around the rider.
What else did they do?
Well, they tested different massage gels to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach each rider the absolute best way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick.
Just to reduce the chance of catching a cold.
Exactly. They even figured out the exact pillow and mattress that led to the best possible night's sleep for each individual athlete.
A custom mattress for every cyclist, that is. That's commitment to the tiny details. But tell me about the team truck. The white paint.
Ah, that's my favorite one. So they painted the inside of the team's transport truck pure white,
Why?
so they could spot even the tiniest specks of dust more easily.
Dust.
Yeah, dust they figured could get into the bike's mechanics and compromise performance. So if they could find and clean that dust, they'd reduce the chance of a mechanical failure by some tiny fraction of a percent.
And the payoff for all this obsessive attention to detail?
It was immediate, and it was massive. 5 years later, the 2008 Beijing Olympics, the British team just dominated. They won 60% of all the gold medals available in cycling.
60%.
Then in 2012, they broke 9 Olympic and 7 world records. And the Tour de France. They went from never winning to winning it 5 times in 6 years.
With Bradley Wiggins and Chris Froome, yeah. The whole system just transformed the sport.
It really did.
Okay, so let's unpack this system for everyone listening. The big insight here is that winners and losers, they usually have the exact same goal, right?
Right. Everyone wants to win the gold medal or lose the weight. The goal isn't the differentiator.
So it has to be the system of continuous small improvements.
Precisely. And that takes us right to the foundation of all of this, which is identity.
Explain that.
Every single tiny action you take is it's like you're casting a vote for the type of person you want to become.
So if I write 1 page, I'm casting a vote for being a writer. If I do 10 push-ups, I'm casting a vote for being an athlete.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
And the focus has to be on consistency. It's okay to miss a day.
An accident.
An accident.
Yeah.
The key is to never miss twice. Because the second miss is the start of a new and probably unwanted habit.
And to do that, you have to be aware of what you're even doing in the first place. This is the first law. Make it obvious.
Which is where the habit scorecard comes in.
Yeah.
You literally just list out your daily habit.
And you mark them, right. Plus for positive one, minus for negative, equals for neutral.
Yeah, and you start to see that there aren't really good or bad habits. There are just effective habits.
Effective at what?
Effective at solving a problem in the moment, but maybe not effective for your long-term identity. Smoking, for example, is very effective at reducing stress right now.
But it's catastrophic for your identity as a healthy person.
Exactly. It's all about making the non-conscious conscious. And it's amazing how much of our lives are run by cues we don't even notice.
You're talking about those stories of deep encoded expertise.
Like the paramedic at a family party. She just glanced at her father-in-law, who felt totally fine, and she immediately said, "We need to go to the hospital now."
And he was hours away from a major heart attack. She saved his life, but she couldn't explain how she knew.
No, she just said something about the blood distribution pattern in his face looked wrong. Her brain recognized a pattern her conscious mind couldn't even articulate.
That's the power of the non-conscious brain. It's an efficiency machine.
Oh, completely. It's like the story of the retail clerk who cut up a customer's credit card.
On autopilot.
Total autopilot. She was so used to cutting up used gift cards that after a credit card transaction, her brain just ran the script, grabbed the scissors, and snip.
So if our brains are built for that kind of automatic efficiency, we have to, hack our environment to make the right choice the easy choice.
That's the third law, make it easy. It's really about embracing what's called the law of least effort. Our brains are fundamentally wired to conserve energy.
So we're always going to gravitate towards the option that takes the least amount of work.
We are built to be proactively lazy.
And this brings up that great distinction between being in motion and taking action. I love the photography class story.
Oh, it's a classic. A teacher splits his class into two groups. The quantity group, he says, will be graded purely on the number of photos they turn in. 100 photos gets you an A.
And the other group.
The quality group.
Yeah.
They only need to produce one single photo. But it has to be nearly perfect to get an A.
And at the end of the term, all the best photos came from the quantity group.
Every single one.
Yeah.
Because while the quality group was sitting around theorizing about what makes a perfect photo, the quantity group was out there just doing.
Taking pictures, making mistakes, learning.
They were taking action. Action is what drives mastery, not just thinking about it.
So it's about designing your world, your choice architecture, to promote action.
Yes. The Massachusetts General Hospital cafeteria study is a perfect example. They wanted to improve staff eating habits without a big lecture.
Without changing motivation at all.
Right. So all they did was add bottled water to the refrigerators that already had soda in them, right by the cash registers.
They just made the healthy choice more obvious and easier to grab.
And soda sales dropped over 11%, while water sales shot up by more than 25%, purely by reducing a tiny bit of friction.
You can do this at home. I actually do this now. The resetting the room idea.
Tell me.
It's just putting the remote back on its stand, arranging the pillows on the couch. It's not about cleaning. It's about making the start of the next good action easier.
It's priming the environment. It's like the apples. If you leave apples in the crisper drawer in your fridge, they just sit there and rot.
Out of sight, out of mind.
But if you take them out and put them in a nice bowl right on the counter, you'll start eating them every day. The cue is obvious and the action is easy.
Okay, so let's get to the fuel. The thing that drives this whole engine. Law number 2. Make it attractive.
And this is all about dopamine. For a long time, we thought dopamine was about the pleasure of getting a reward, liking it.
That's not.
No. The new science shows it's mostly released in anticipation of a reward. It's the wanting, the craving that drives us.
That's the mice study, right? Poking their nose in a box hundreds of times an hour.
800 times an hour, just for that jolt of dopamine from the wanting center of the brain. Our brains have way more space dedicated to wanting rewards than to actually enjoying them.
So if craving is the engine, we have to find a way to make hard habits more attractive.
Which is where temptation bundling comes in.
Ah, yes. Can you give an example?
A great corporate one is the ABC Network's whole TGIT campaign. Thank God it's Thursday.
Right, for their block of shows.
They bundle the thing they wanted you to do, watch their shows, with things you already wanted to do. You know, drink a glass of wine, eat popcorn, relax at the end of the week.
They made watching their shows synonymous with that attractive weekly ritual.
And that craving is amplified by social pressure. We're tribal creatures.
We want to fit in.
Desperately. You see it in the Solomon Asch conformity experiments. Subjects were shown lines and asked which one was longest. A simple task.
But the room was full of actors told to give the wrong answer.
And nearly 75% of the real subjects went along with the group's obviously incorrect answer, just to conform.
Oh.
We are hardwired to imitate the tribe.
Even when it means denying what we can see with our own eyes. Okay, that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. The 4th law. Make it satisfying.
And this is the biggest challenge, really, because we live in what's called a delayed return environment.
Meaning the rewards for good habits, saving for retirement, eating healthy, are years away.
But our ancient brains are wired for immediate gratification. We need a reward now,
We have to find a way to bridge that gap.
which is why the Karachi hand washing study is so brilliant.
This was a public health initiative, right? Trying to get people to wash their hands more.
Exactly. And people knew the long-term benefit was reducing disease, but that wasn't enough to make the habit stick.
The reward was too far in the future.
So instead of focusing on the delayed reward of health, the researchers introduced a new soap, a soap that provided immediate satisfaction. It lathered up really nicely and it smelled great. That pleasant sensory experience was the immediate reward. It felt good right now
And it worked. Diarrhea rates dropped by over 50%.
because the habit became immediately satisfying.
And if you need to track your habit, that progress also has to feel satisfying. Which brings us to the stockbroker and the paper clips.
Trent Deersmid, he had 2 empty jars on his desk. At the start of each day, he'd put 120 paper clips in one of them.
And after every single sales call he made,
He'd move one paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar. The simple, physical, visible act of moving that clip was a tiny, immediate hit of satisfaction.
it's clear evidence of progress, I get that. But doesn't that run the risk of just becoming a boring checklist?
That's the essential risk. It is a balance.
Okay.
But it touches on the crucial final thought we need to leave everyone with.
Okay, so when we put it all together, make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. The biggest takeaway for me is that disciplined people don't have some heroic level of willpower.
No, not at all. They're just better at structuring their lives so they don't need it. They're better at avoiding tempting situations in the first place.
You don't have to resist the cookie if it's not in your house to begin with.
Exactly. But on your point about metrics and boredom, we have to talk about Goodhart's law.
What's that?
It says, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
Meaning, if you start tracking your steps, you might start optimizing for getting more steps, not for actually getting healthier. You mistake the metric for the real mission.
Precisely. And that leads to the ultimate threat to all of this. It's not failure, it's boredom.
Mastery requires falling in love with being bored, showing up when it's no longer new and exciting.
The only way to combat that is with reflection and review. You have to have systems in place weekly, monthly, to zoom out and look at your progress.
You have to see the whole mountain range of your success and not get obsessed with the tiny peaks and valleys of each day.
So the question we want to leave you with is this. How can you structure your environment this week to make a good habit just a little bit easier?
And when that initial excitement fades, as it always does, how will you find satisfaction in just casting that one simple, unglamorous vote for the person you want to become?